Welcome to the Girl Power Alliance podcast, where you're going to meet and hear from some inspiring women with incredible stories who are leading in business and in faith. We are on a mission to impact the world by empowering women to dream bigger through kingdom-minded mentoring and leadership. This is where women grow. Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Power Alliance podcast. If you're watching this on video, you can see this beautiful guest here. Let me tell you a little bit about Stacy. She's a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. She is a passionate author, international speaker, recording artist, web designer, award-winning nonprofit founder of GOAL, anointedliving.org. She is a content creator, a coach, a mentor, the host of the Radiant Pearl Living podcast. She enjoys writing and designing and sharing amazing resources that will make a difference in the lives of others. Her first book, Pearls of the Earth, was published at the age of 17. She has since published Radiant Pearl in Progress to be released in 2020. We'll find out when. We'll find out when the release of that is. She's co-author of the book, The Power of Why, designed custom planners, the Radiant Pearl Planner, and the Fearless Creator Planner, written, award-nominated multimedia featured, praise and worship songs, and provide invaluable resources through her podcast and published content. Sheesh. She streamlines the process into content creation through her promotional system, the Fearless Creator Method. Lady Stacy invites you to have clear vision, live to your full potential, and plan for a radiant life that you love. I mean, my goodness, that's like 5 lives into one. Welcome, Stacy.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for that warm welcome and beautiful introduction. It was a mouthful, wasn't it?
I mean, you've done so much already.
To God be the glory.
Isn't it exciting?
It is. It really is.
Well, okay. So why don't you, that's your bio. That's all the things you've accomplished. Why don't you tell our listeners just a little bit more about you, a little bit personal?
Yes. So I am just an excited child of God, that is really big on communication and helping others live to their full potential through all the ways, right? And so as you've seen, I really enjoy writing the vision I've always really shared is so important. And that is what has led me to publishing the books that I've written, writing the songs that has been produced, and singing the songs that I sing when I lead worship. And, in my family, day-to-day living, my entire family is a ministering family. And so, faith fuels everything that I do. And I just love it. I love taking people along on the journey and inspiring them to live to their full potential as well.
Well, it's a beautiful thing to be such a creative person. God created you as this incredibly creative, incredibly talented woman, and you're really utilizing so many of your talents out in the world to do exactly what I believe God created us to do, which is to inspire other people, to point them to Him. And so, bravo, woman, you are amazing.
Oh, to God be the glory. You're amazing, Michelle, for what you do.
Oh, thank you. So, okay, tell us about the book that you have coming out soon. We're halfway through 2020, so it must be soon, yes?
Yes. So Radiant Pearl in Progress. This is actually going to be the second iteration. I have a Radiant Pearl series, and the very first book that I wrote was Pearls of the Earth. And so the second one, which is Radiant Pearl in Progress, is really taking especially students. I wrote that as a series of devotionals as well as journaling aspects to help those who are in that season of finding themselves, finding their purpose, and realizing that, hey, you are a radiant pearl in progress. What you are going through right now, the process and the experience is allowing you, positioning you for where you need to be and where God has called you to be. And so sifting through that and inspiring you and taking you through that process and reminding you, hey, you've got everything that God has equipped you for to be all that you're called to be.
Wow, that's so powerful. I mean, for you to have begun your journey as an author at 17, I mean, tell us about that because, 17 years old, you don't even know who you are. And here you are writing books.
Yeah, so I've had a unique experience being that I actually, started school based on the British system in the islands of Jamaica. And so when I was 17 years old, I was already in college. I was in my first year of college. And so, just going through what I was experiencing for the first time, not only, coming over to the US as an immigrant and experiencing for the first time in a way a culture shock and realizing everything is so different, and that's why I'm so passionate about even working with international students. I've worked with as a coordinator, and I realized the process of just trying to get acclimated to being in a new place was something that what helped me was writing. And so during that time period, culture shock also had to do with just the sheltered background that I came from, and being a part of a ministering family, very, very conservative. I was in a way awakened and had all these opportunities being away now from my family. And I share a bit about that story too in Pearls of the Earth and Radiant Pearl in Progress, is that you have to find yourself, who you are, independent from what you are told that you're supposed to be based on your family and the environment that you've been
Mm,
nurtured in, right?
that's
And so it was
powerful.
during that time and journey of recording, of reading, of learning, and being involved in different activities, from the modeling troupe to all these fun different things. And I'm like, okay, the sky is the limit, but who is Stacy called to be? And what is she called to do in this season where she is right now? And that was for me as a college student. So I wanted to help guide people. It became a college guide in essence. And
Wow.
it all birthed through experience and my love for Christ and the church.
It's an inspiring thing to, to know that at such a young age, you actually answered the call, because I believe that there are a lot of young people, young women that at that age, they feel what you felt. They feel like God calling them to some purpose, but they kind of let their age stop them. Like, well, I'm only 17. So, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that took a lot of courage.
Yes, I mean, even to today, being fearless has become my mantra because, when we are trying to tackle something and we're going into uncharted territories, we have to recognize, especially as a believer, that you're not going into these places on your own, and that, even though you are not sure about what the future holds, there's someone that is holding your hand through the process, who creates the future, right? So if you can be confident in that fact, then you know that God has equipped you and you have nothing to fear, and you can move forward in spite of the doubt and the fear that you're experiencing, thinking you're not good enough or you're not equipped enough or you're not ready, right now.
Wow, that is a bold faith. And to have that at your starting at such a young age, what an exciting thing to see what you've been able to do in it, not very long period of time. All of the incredible things that you have accomplished. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and just a testimony to the power of really leaning in with that fearless faith that you have to these uh, you know, I think people hear it like little whispers, you know what I mean? Or like little desires in their heart. I was having a conversation with a woman yesterday and I was telling her like God's calling you to do this thing that she had on her heart. She goes, "Could that be true?" I was like, "Yes, it's true, but so many doubt that thing because it's your talent plus the little whisper and the desire of your heart all combined into one." So I think people feel like it's too good to be true that you could actually live that out.
Yes, yes. I love that, Michelle. One of the things that I've really admired even about with what you're doing, the Girl Power, Alliance and the movement in essence, it's so needed because when you think about, and I have to give so much honor, of course, first and foremost to our creator, the fearless of all fearless creators, right? But also it's the people he places into our life. It's the community that he places us in that is allowing us to be nurtured and developed into that fearless creator, into that, that being and that vessel that he can flow through and minister to. And so what I've realized, it's not in and of myself, but during the times that I was inspired to do things, I found that it was because I was around inspiring people, from my grandparents to my parents, to my siblings, to, my husband, to different people who got allowed that I work with in ministry to do what he's called us to do. That all played a role in me taking that bold step and move to know, hey, I can do this and I'm not alone in doing this, first with God and then with those he's placed around me to impact and to be impacted by.
Oh, that just gave me chills, Stacy, because it's so true. And I think it's one of the reasons that God put this vision on my heart is because there's so many women out there that they're this close. They're this close, and all they need is that word of encouragement or that small nudge, or knowing that you have people around you that are going to support you, even though maybe you don't know what the heck you're doing,
Right.
but you're listening. But you just had one person speak into you, one person pour into you. And so within this community, there are women like you that are just coming out of the woodworks and just have such a heart to serve and such a heart to give and to pour into other people. It's creating this, you're right, it's a movement. It's nothing to do with me. It's this movement of God it's like he's turned on a faucet of just grace and equipping and encouragement that is pouring into this community of Girl Power Alliance. And so
Beautiful.
it's exciting.
It is.
It's exciting. I'm inspired, like every day by so many things with these women that are involved in the community, getting to meet women like you and doing podcasts, hearing your story, digging deeper, really hearing how God has worked in like the tiniest details of your life to create this, incredibly powerful woman that you are. And then watching as women meet, and I get to see on social media that they're like commenting on each other's posts or planning events together. And I just think, wow, God, you're so good, because he knew those people needed to meet and connect for some bigger reason to have bigger impact. And it's just inspiring.
It really is. It really is.
So tell me what you're working. I mean, you have the book that's coming out.
Yes.
What was the date?
So for the Radiant Pearl in Progress, that actually is supposed to be released in August.
Oh, so it's coming up.
It is, yes, very, very soon. And the portion before, well, it's morphed into not just going to be the ebook portion, but there is going to be the actual copy that can be ordered, so you can start writing those stories. And it actually integrates into the most recent release of the Fearless Creator Planner, because what I found is that we have a lot of people who are not necessarily even in the faith space yet, because they are muddling their way through trying to figure out what they were placed on this earth to do. And so they will probably begin with searching through in and of themselves, or listening to podcasts like this, or going out. But we want to take them on a process where they can dig deeper by inquiring of themselves and then pulling the resources that are necessary to be able to bring birth into being that fearless creator that they're created to be. And so it can look as in the form of writing their own book. It can look as in the form of them sharing their story through audio format, whether it's them launching a podcast. And so that's what I'm really fired up and excited about, because I am taking people through that process right now. And just recently having had the opportunity to participate in really an exceptional gathering and bundle. I've had so many different people that have reached out, and I'm just like, whoa, I'm blown away by all the creators that are around us. But they are not yet at that place where they can feel like they're fearless enough to launch out into the deep and do what they're called to do. And all they need, just like you were saying, Michelle, is someone to hold their hands, to give them that nudge, to have that accountability, to have that mentorship. And so all of these things have rolled together because it's been a passion of mine from the very beginning with my nonprofit with goal, and now it's gone to another level, an element where, you know, God is allowing me to launch out globally, not just with the youth and the children that I was working with directly, but now adults, young adults,
Wow.
those who are even in their midlife. I mean, there is no limit or no age range limit or cap to where God can take you and to what he can do with where you are and what you have in you right
How
now.
exciting. How exciting. So how do people find you? Where are you? Are you on obviously I would gather that you're on social media. Is that where most people find you?
Yes, yes. So as a fearless creator, I do all the things. So I am all the places, but I like to really simplify things. There's one place that I created that everyone can reach out and connect with me. And I like to put the fact that it's so important to take ownership of your space, right? And so I created this template that would allow other people to utilize this free tool and resource for themselves, for their business and what they're creating. And so you can see that in action at radiantpearlliving.com/connect. There has all the links to, of course, Instagram, Facebook, podcast, book, songs that I've written, everything
Wow.
all in that one space.
Well, Will, if you're listening to this, that information, of course, will be available in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then that information will be right below the video. Where do people find you through your business name on social media, or they find you through your name?
They can actually find me through both. One of the things I've just try and simplify things and streamline. I always try to keep brandings separate, and people know me personally as a recording artist. So
Mm.
when they put Stacy Zant, they're going to see my music and all the fun videos and things. But then Radiant Pearl Living is going to be specifically when it comes to the blogging aspect, and then the Fearless Creator will be all of the system and methods that are in place to help you accomplish your dreams as well.
What genre is your music?
It is actually gospel Christian contemporary music.
How awesome. I've had a couple of recording artists on the podcast, and I always plant this seed. So
Awesome.
I'm going to plant it with you. I say, God gave me a vision that somebody would write a song, like a theme song for Girl Power
Oh,
Alliance. So
okay.
I'm just going to
Okay.
plant the seed. And if God
Yes.
inspires, then he inspires.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, you're already proclaiming, prophesying, putting it out there, and it's gonna come. It's gonna come true. I'm so
I know it
excited.
is. And it's going to be a really beautiful, powerful song. And it's going to really embody not necessarily just Girl Power Alliance, but what God is doing with women right now on the
Yeah,
earth. I
yeah,
believe that God is raising up women in massive ways through the
yeah,
marketplace in particular, because there's more women in the marketplace than there is in ministry. But you have all these millions of women who are in the marketplace who are so crazy in love with Jesus, and their heart is to impact the world,
right.
and they're doing it through their various skills and talents, and their various passions. And so I think it's I mean, the world is weird right now, let's just be
Right,
honest, but
right.
at the same time, I'm so excited about what God is doing in the world. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you for that, Michelle. You are incredible, and I'm so excited that we're having this conversation today.
I would love it if you could share with our listeners like the one thing. So you have somebody listening, maybe it's somebody young like you were at 17, or maybe they're my age, they're 47, but they're at that place where they're just like, I think I hear this call. I have this desire in my heart. What's the one thing that you would advise them to do right now, as soon as they're done with this podcast?
I would say let faith fuel the foundation that you already have around you, inside of you. There is a reason why you're listening to this message today and this podcast or watching it. God wants to not only instill within you that courage and that boldness to walk in your divine calling and purpose, but he wants to equip you to do so. He wants to let you know and remind you that you are not alone.
Mm.
He wants to show you the way. Of course, we know he is the way and the truth and the life, right? And so you have just what you need inside of you. The first step you need to take is simply begin. Simply start writing that plan, that vision. Write the vision, make it plain. And then, this is not something that people say a lot, then I want you to relinquish those plans. Get what it is that is in your mind, is in your spirit, is in your soul, in your heart of hearts to do. And then release it to the Lord. It is not in your own power or in your divine strength or skill that it is going to come true, that your dreams is going to become a reality. But you can make the first step in writing that vision, making it plain, those plans that you have and you envision for your life, and then relinquish it to the Lord and see him do a mighty work.
That is so unbelievably powerful. And you're right. You never hear people say that ever, even though it's such an important component. It's such a big part of being, of really stewarding the vision that God placed in your heart. I mean, that is it. I just want to tell people, like, listen to the whole podcast, but listen to that, rewind it, go back and listen to that again and again until it gets into your heart. Because truly what I have found about leading in my own life and in business and different things, that leadership is really, really about surrendering to the will of God, like every day, in every way, in ways that feel uncomfortable, in ways that feel scary. But that is really the platform from which I lead and do my business now. But it took a long time to get there. It took a long time. So you're giving people a massive, like, quantum leap in their journey by teaching that from the beginning. Thank you for that. That is amazing.
God be the glory. Thank you, Michelle.
I mean, that is just gold. And I hope that if you are watching or listening, that you will really take that to heart, because it's really about, whatever it is that God has placed in you, as in the way of skills and passions and talents and all these things that are welling up inside of you. They're his gifts, and he created you. Stacy even said this: every person, that you have a purpose, a specific design, that when God was forming you in your mother's womb, he had an idea of already how you were going to impact the world.
Yes.
So I believe that most people already kind of know what it is, because they have these innate things in their spirit and their soul. But then, exactly what Stacy said, say, listen, here's what I think, but I'm going to give it all to you, God, and you help me to take the next step. You open the door. You show me the next step that I am supposed to take. That is just an anointed word.
Oh, God is so good. God is so good.
He is so good. He is so good. Well, I am just so grateful to meet such dynamic women like you. And I have enjoyed every word coming out of your mouth with your beautiful accent. So enchanting, makes you just want to keep listening and listening. I can't wait to. Is your music available on Spotify Oh, how wonderful. So you guys, we'll put your Spotify link as well in the information, so people can just find you. So you have podcasts, you have content, you have coaching and mentoring, you have music. I mean, there's really nothing. Are you an artist too? Because that's basically the only thing left that you don't do.
Bible journaling. You can.
Hey, I bet you they're beautiful. I bet you they're beautiful. You are a true gift, and what a blessing to get to know you. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us. I don't think that just the podcast is the only place. And I want to thank you for what you're doing and for stewarding your life in such a beautiful way to inspire so many people from such a young age. And, I feel like God's just gotten started with you.
Oh, Michelle, to God be the glory. You're incredible. Thank you for the work again that you do. And you've really encouraged me today, just with your demeanor and with just the entire movement and what it is that you're putting out there. It's truly a blessing that is needed in our society and community as believers creating today.
That's right. We need each other, man. I need you, and other people need you, and we all need each other so desperately. Well, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining us today on the podcast. And if you're listening, go check her out, go listen to her music, and just absorb as much Stacy as you can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What an amazingly talented woman. Holy moly. She can pretty much do anything and everything and has already done so many things. Thank you, Stacy, for being on the podcast with us. Hey, listen, we're winding down 2020. And if you're anything like me, you are ready for 2021 to be a year of completely different energy, to be a year where you really stand in your authority and your leadership, taking the steps to go beyond what you think is possible. And if this is true, you really need to check out Radiant Leadership Academy. We are starting our very first 16-week leadership certification, in-depth biblical discipleship leadership in January. So you still have time to get registered. Head over to girlpoweralliance.com and you can get all the information there. Or you can go straight to radiantleadershipacademy.com and get registered there. Either way, you're not going to want to miss this. If you're ready to up-level your leadership in all areas of your life, from who you are, stewarding your health, finances, from the way that you interact with other people, from the impact on the world, from a biblical standpoint, this is for you. Now, if you're already a membership of Girl Power Alliance, you have special membership pricing. If you're not a member of Girl Power Alliance, head over there right now and secure your space in this remarkable course. Let me tell you something. Now is the time. You are where you're at for such a time as this. So don't wait. Become a part of Girl Power Alliance one way or another, through the membership or through Radiant Leadership Academy. We've been praying for you. We are waiting for you. And one thing is for sure, at Girl Power Alliance, we know this. This is where women grow.